What is good, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to episode 25 of the Art Meets Culture podcast. I'm your host, Ade Sanusi, and we are back with another episode, another great interview, another international interview as well, with none other than Royce, also known as the Royce Project on Instagram. He's from Canada, and we had a great chat about his art, what he does, his expressions. Art has allowed him to, travel the world, share great experiences, from artists around in London, to artists such as, J. King, Stazzy, the whole Chin Gang, and, been on platforms like, the Art of Sounds. So he's been able to travel with his art. So that's always something great to know, that an artist, that's from another side of the world is being pulled to, London to do shows, or, wherever he's looking to travel next. It's just pulling him around the world. And that's a beautiful thing, to always hear and to always know. He's a solid guy, solid man. Someone who's, about his morals, about his purpose. And, sometimes, people forget that. They forget their purpose in life and what they need to do. So he's very clear in that, and he's got great clarity. Once you hear the interview, you'll understand what I mean by clear clarity in terms of what he says and what he wants. So, without further ado, before we even kick off this episode, shout outs to everybody who's been listening. Shout out to, everybody in Chicago who's been checking the pod out. Shout out to Matt. Shout out to, Scott. Shout out to all my people, man, who's been listening overseas, and I'm enjoying, your feedback and everything that you're giving me. You're giving myself the platform and everything that we're looking to build towards. Somebody DM me in regards to the store. The store is coming. I'm going to do a link either today once you lot listen, or tomorrow, but that's going to be linked to our mailing list to sign up for something exclusive. So once you sign up to that, then we're looking to push those bits and pieces out just to launch it. But we've got some exciting things to showcase to you, and cool things to express as well. But yeah, I think that's about it for today. I mean, the weather's beautiful, it's beaming. I did a 5k run today. I wanted to do 7, but I've had a long week of just doing home workouts, so that 5k kind of just was like, oh, you're pushing, but we're gonna go again tomorrow, definitely on 7k, but the aim is to do 10k 3 days a week, so 30k a week. So that's the goal, and hopefully your fitness goals are in check as well. Also, shout out to all the artists who are listening in right now. Thank you so much for your support, and thank you so much for your feedback. It's always great to hear positive things, and it's always good to know that we are doing positive things to push the culture forward. And that's like my personal aim as well, is pushing the culture forward. There's a lot of rules in the commercial art world. There's a lot of ways they say we should do things and stuff like that, but I'm not to say I'm like, oh, against it. It's just like, no, we want to come with something different. We want to make noise at a different level too. So I'm at a point where I know we can stand eye to eye with all these entities and these companies. We can look them dead in the eye and say, yo, we're about this too. Do you know what I mean? So that's the confidence I'm pouring, and hopefully I said that word. I'm even trying to figure, did I say that word right? And that's the sort of confidence I'm trying to give to you, rather. But yeah, without further ado, wait. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment. SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes. Thank you so much. All those things are important, and they've been helping us level up on our platforms that we showcase that on. Thank you so much to the new followers who've been following the gram. Do you know what I mean? We're shouting you out daily. Every time we see us, we're tagged into art, we shout you out. We put you out, do you know what I mean? And if it's dope, we love it. We definitely will showcase that on Artists of the Day. Do you know what I mean? So I try to do them as much as possible. But here's a secret: I do them. I usually make a five selections on Sunday. It sometimes changes in case someone just drops something amazing. So I might drop that one day, but you're still in that list of people who actually are going to be there queued in for Artist of the Day in terms of your work and what you do. Furthermore, because even we're doing these podcasts twice a week and lockdown should be over pretty soon, will there be a change in the way we do pods, which has been a question I was asked. Yes, there will be a change, possibly, more focused on studio bits, but there's going to be a different way we'll be doing the podcast during that period. So we're gonna make it, it's gonna change into more of a little bit premium, but also still include what we include. But we will look back at these range of podcasts, of conversations we have with people from London, from around the world, because these conversations via Zoom or via whatever next platform that I'm going to be using, these are the podcasts that are just going to be, this was our COVID-19 era. Do you know what I mean? That we're going to progress. We're still going to be doing our international episodes, definitely, for sure. That's something I'm growing. But definitely we're going to take that to another level. And, who knows, I might just be in your city interviewing you direct, because that's what I want to do. So we've already got 2 scheduled ones that's happening overseas. I won't say where, but there's now more of a consistent thing that we're doing in terms of international interviews. So shout out to Chicago, which we did last week. Today is Canada. I've got one special one coming this week, and I think I've got another one. I just need to confirm 2 things with them, and then we're going to be as good as gold. But yeah, those 2 are going to be like amazing for us. But yeah, this is Royce, who we interviewed. Amazing guy. Hope you guys like it. What else? Do I need to plug anything else? That is it. But this guy definitely puts his money where his art is. This is the Art Meets Culture podcast. We definitely put our art where we put our money where our art is. You know the vibes. Let's go. Royce, how are you, bro?
Good, man. How are you?
Not too bad. All is well. Thank you for hopping on board. I think you're going on screen, but now you disappeared. But it's all good.
I didn't know if it was an audio or a video thing, so
Yeah, straight audio.
Okay, no doubt.
Yeah, all straight audio. Thank you so much for coming on board on the podcast, man. Appreciate it.
No problem, man. Thanks for inviting me.
No worries.
Yeah,
all good. So tell us who you are, what you do, and let the audience know.
Well, I'm Royce, from the Royce Project. Royce Project is basically just a collection of the art that I like and that I like to share with everybody online specifically. I think I started my Instagram in 2013, and since then it's just really been part exploration, part discovery, and kind of trying to make a little name for myself out there. Really managed to pick up a little bit of recognition online, and
amazing.
It's still a journey right now. So that's really what I'm going through.
No, that's beautiful, man. So before art, what was you doing in your life before you touched any ink?
I've been doing the art for my entire life, man. So ever since I was maybe, I don't know, 5, 6 years old, I've been doing the art, but it's always been more of a side thing than a main thing. Yeah. So for example, I picked up a pencil quite early. My family recognized that I had a talent, but I still had to do something, that would bring in, that would be considered a
backup plan.
like a career, art was always nice, but it was never really the foundation of what my life was going to be.
Yeah.
So I went into school. I studied sciences in university, stuff like that. I got myself a pretty good job and everything, and a career in Right now, I presently work for the Ministry of Health in Canada, but
Amazing.
art's always been it's always been right there. Sometimes it goes away, sometimes it comes back, and ever since I did the Instagram in 2013, it's been a real part of my life now. So like, but I used to draw cartoons, that I like, copy cartoons from TV. Used to draw
Yeah.
anime a lot.
Sick.
And then Instagram came into play. I still had those same art habits, but then it transformed into like discovering a couple more things. I tested digital art, I tested painting, coloring pencils, realism, different cartoon styles and stuff like that, and just posted them, and it kind of
Mm.
like picked up traction over the years, and it led to a lot of opportunities in the art realm that weren't available before.
Yeah. No,
Sure.
that's sick. I definitely love your style and you know how you've grown over the years, seen from your first post from your sketches and now to the whole digital art space, you know, by you capturing culture, like your Drake piece that you just recently done, you know,
Mm.
that's like amazing. It's like, oh, he's definitely expanding on what the album is, you know what I mean? So you definitely brought it to life. What inspired you to get into art? Like you chose art as a medium for expression. Why this expression?
It's really like the inspiration varies, man. Like I said, I've been doing this for so long that it's kind of an exploration. So early on, I started out just drawing just for the like of drawing. I used to run through packs of printer paper as a kid, just drawing
Mm,
stuff. Like if I like a cartoon, I'll draw characters. I'll make up my own characters. I'll draw a bunch of stuff, and the inspiration was always based on my interests and what I like. So these days, it's really about like if you look at my page, a lot of the stuff is just things that relate to my interests. So
yeah,
music, urban culture, um, um, television, sports. So like I draw basketball stuff, I draw comic book stuff. I try to keep it a lot of like the urban culture, a lot of like black art. Like the subjects will be black, and then
yeah.
that's just because I feel like that represents my interest. It also represents what I'm trying to put out into the world, because I think the more of that I put out, the better it is for the people who are looking for that kind of stuff. And I think there's an avenue for that too. And like, like you go through my page, I have like even like UK rappers
Yeah, I see that.
out there, and that's just like an expression of how my interests have grown over the years. I've had the chance to come over to London a few
Mhm.
times over the past years, and for opportunities that were brought on by art. I could tell you a little bit about that too, but like just
Yeah,
to answer the
we get into
question, like
that.
the inspiration usually comes from my interests,
Yeah.
and then my interests, I just put it into an art form, and then I explore the art forms, whether it's digital, pencil, painting, whatever.
Mm.
Yeah, that's really how it goes.
No, definitely. And, you know, I definitely see your inspiration in every piece you do. You know, capturing the stuff you like, you know, whether it be, you know, capturing, you know, the Toronto Raptors, you know, winning the NBA finals, you know, and
Yeah,
showcasing that on the
it was
image. It's like
it
those
was a
things are
big,
like, oh, it was huge. It was definitely a
big,
huge.
big, big moment for Canada, man.
Yeah, it was amazing to
Yeah,
see because it was one of those wins where it's just like, nah, this can't really happen. Do you know what I
yeah.
mean?
It was like a Disney movie, like a
Yeah,
fairy tale type, like overcoming all these obstacles and odds and being the underdog
yeah,
in every single round, and then it being like biggest, like one of the biggest wins this league's ever seen, right? So
yeah. It
like
was
huge,
huge,
huge moment.
huge,
Yeah.
huge. And it's just like, because now we're into basketball talk because I love basketball. It's just like
Okay,
you
cool.
had Steph, Clay, but he got injured. But then you had
Hmm.
KD. It was just like, you know, it's just like something stars aligned for you guys so much. Where it's
Yeah,
just, like, I don't think Golden State are coming back. Do you know what I mean? But then you can see the will. It was like a will of a whole country. It was literally a country
yeah,
versus a town
yeah,
or a city rather.
yeah,
So that was phenomenal to see, man. Definitely,
yeah,
I
definitely,
wish
man.
I was there.
Oh man, it was exciting, and like um when that year started, me and my friends, we were like, okay, the city's got a real shot at getting to the finals.
Yeah,
you know. And then when we got there, there was still like a little bit of doubt. But then when we took that first game in the finals, like the gates opened wide up.
Hmm.
Like anything was possible at that time. You know what I mean? And yeah, people will say the stars align, but when it comes to those kind of stakes, you have
Yeah.
to capitalize every opportunity. You can't. There is a lot of talent on that team, and
Yeah.
that's what really got him through it. You know, because people blow opportunities when they present themselves. So that didn't
Yeah.
happen for them. So yeah, I had to capture that in art. Like that. That's like if I could, I would draw Raptors art all day. But like I
Yeah.
can't do
But it'd be like a Raptors fan page,
it. Yeah,
you
exactly.
know. But you mentioned your the country of Canada. How is the Canadian art scene? Do they back their artists like that, or do you have something similar to London in terms of support systems and stuff like that?
Well, funny enough, like the art scene in Canada, it's not that it's not there. It's
Hmm.
just that I haven't explored it.
Okay.
Reason being, like when it comes, like I explained earlier, like my life is art is kind of like a side thing. It's not my main thing.
Yeah.
My main thing involves so many responsibilities towards my work, towards my family,
Yeah.
towards like a whole bunch of stuff like that that I actually don't get the time to go and explore the art scene as much as I had an opportunity to do so in London, because when I
Yeah.
go to London, that's my focus 100%
Mm.
art. But when I'm out here, it's a different focus. But like I said, it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. There are a lot of artists in my city of Ottawa. There's a lot of artists in Toronto. I managed to connect with a few of them, just because of Instagram and stuff like that. But they do shows, they do exhibits, they do art battles. I've seen those kind of things get promoted and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
I haven't been able to go out and explore. And it's something that I hope to do in the near future, because
Yeah.
like I feel like if I get myself involved in that, then I can have the same type of experiences I've had in London over
Yeah.
here, and then share that with the people I know and my family and stuff like that. So yeah.
Yeah, so you've now left the older brother and come to the cousin, which is the UK,
Yeah.
which we call it. So, what is it about, UK, London, that drew you to us? Ironically, we're talking about Ireland, and drew you to us in the city.
So the story, I have to go back a couple of years. Like when I started my Instagram, I was posting just random art and mixing comic books with black art, stuff like that. And I actually met someone who was doing something similar to me online, and he was going by the name of Herb Animated at the time. So
Mhm.
now it's Jaking the Artist.
Okay.
And me and him, we saw a similarity in our art styles, to the point that we would joke that he's the London Royce and I'm the Canadian J King, right?
Yeah.
So it started out as just like just sharing art and just like supporting each other, like in a sense, and then it transformed into more of an opportunity to actually connect. So once we connected through WhatsApp, just to have discussions about art, because the thing is that, like, I don't know too many artists in Canada, but funny enough, being online, I can find artists right away because we share the same interests through
Yeah.
Instagram. So we were able to connect, and then so Jaking and I started talking. He brought a couple of people that he knew, and that included Stasi Art.
Yeah. Shout to
And
Stas.
yes, Stasi. So we formed a little group, and Mr. Westrup
Mm.
was also one of the first people I started talking to. So we had this group chat, and that chat really like generated a lot of positive conversations that surrounded art. Like, how do we, you know, carve a name for ourselves in the modern day art world? How do we take these forms of art, which are non-traditional, which are digital mediums, which are
Yeah.
based on cartoons and stuff like that, and really like make names for ourselves, and a lot of ideas came out of that. Like some of the paintings that Stasi has put up were a result of the motivation from those chats. Some of the work that
Amazing.
J King done was a result from that, and some of the work that I did was a result from that chat, and West the same way. So
Mm.
eventually, over time, we formed the Chin Gang Collective.
Yeah.
So that was sparked from conversations just over WhatsApp, and
Mm.
then eventually the Art of Sounds was formed
Yes.
from those discussions too. And it
Mm.
was really the Art of Sounds that drew me to actually make the move to actually come to London. So once we had talked about that idea, and J King was really the motor behind putting it all together,
Mm.
like once the first event that we did, I think it was in 2017,
Yeah.
the Art of Grime. And I don't know if you had a chance to attend any of them, but like it was really like I made my way out there to attend that event.
Yeah.
And then it resulted in like one of the like craziest experiences I've had that mix art and music and
Mm.
culture and people and all of those things. And once I saw that, I met a bunch of people that I had seen online. I made
Mm.
friends with a lot of people. I consider J King, Stazzy, and West like my brothers now. Like we're that close. And I got to meet a bunch of people that, you know, even I see like your podcast, like you interviewed
Yes.
Kurzart and Fatma from Fatma Art, and
Mm.
all those people. Like I met them, and they're cool ass people. And so like now I'm drawn to London on a repeated basis. I would have been there again if it wasn't for this pandemic
Yeah.
this year, right?
Yeah.
So like it's just easy to find, it was easy to find those connections through online, and it just happened to happen in London. So
Yeah.
if it had happened in Toronto in Canada, for example, maybe I would have done that there. But I find that it was really, really an opportunity to explore a little bit of Europe, because I also have family and friends. So I go visit them, then I come to London, and then, you know, do the art thing there and really get to focus on it, because for the time that I'm there, that's all I'm doing, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what really drew me to London. It was just it was random online connections that transformed into something bigger, right? So
Hmm.
yeah, it was really, really cool.
No, that's amazing. You know, shout out to King. You know, shout out to the whole Artist Sounds team and everything like that. It's great that the internet and Instagram is helping everyone connect just through looking at their art DMs, WhatsApp groups, and everything. I know, how has social media like played a part in your career? I mean, you've explained it in terms of how it's grown you, but how vital do you think it is for anyone's art career?
I think it's integral, man. Like it's what social media does, it reduces the degrees of separation between
Mm.
people. So
Shout out to
if
the kid
I'm
in the back.
sorry.
Shout out to the kid in the back. I just heard someone screaming.
Oh, sorry, that's my daughter, man.
Oh, bless her, bless her.
She's in the next room. My bad. Yeah,
It's all
you'll
right.
hear her. She just woke up from a nap, and so
So
her and my
she's
wife
up,
are in the
up.
next room. They're chilling. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
So
as you were.
yeah, so it like social media reduces the degrees of separation, and like the power of social media was really apparent when it started. Like nowadays, it's a little different,
Yeah.
but like when Instagram started, like I follow and seen some people who could reach a celebrity like Rihanna with a post.
Yeah.
Something that in 2007, if you had to think of when she was coming out and she just dropped Umbrella, like how would you reach someone like Rihanna?
Mm.
You would have to go through leaps and bounds to get to her, and then you wouldn't even speak to her directly, would be a representative, right?
Yeah.
But social media kind of just broke down all those barriers. So like, you know, I could post something online, tag a celebrity, or tag, if it's not a celebrity, like if you're a fan of a TV series, you could tag the author or creator of that TV series, and then you'll get the recognition for it right away if they notice it,
Mm.
right? So social media is integral in making connections of all sorts from all
Yeah.
degrees. Like you may reach someone that you would never thought you could reach just by simple interaction, a tag, a DM, an email, all those things, because people have made themselves so accessible. So if you're an artist, you need to be able to understand how that works, both for reaching people and understanding how it works when you get reached too, right?
Yeah.
So like you have to be able to present yourself in a way where people actually want to work with you or want to make requests of you or collaborate in a sort, right? So like originally at first it was kind of like the Wild West on Instagram, you know, anybody
Yeah.
can tag anybody, but now people try to form their personalities online. They take it more like a business and everything like that,
Yeah.
make themselves presentable in a certain way because they know that there's value in that. You never know which eyes are watching, right? So
Mm.
like it's fundamental. I talk about Instagram a lot because that's like my main avenue,
Yeah.
but it's the same thing for Twitter. It's the same thing for Facebook. Even if you want to do like LinkedIn, like it's the same thing everywhere. You gotta present yourself and just know that there's like a ton of opportunity in that, right?
Yeah. No, it's definitely so integral to everybody who's trying to build something or spread a message. The way we, talk on Instagram is beyond magical, because back then this tool never existed. You know what I mean? So how was you going to get your art there in the first
Yeah,
place? Where it's not like now you can show parents like, look, this is my following. This is how I make money. You can show your parents and people who don't believe, like a portfolio almost, and how things work. And now everybody's on that wave of social media trying to build something. Do you know what I mean? And you execute it well in what you're doing.
yeah, exactly, man.
Mm.
Like it's just like I don't know. It's just it changed everything. It changed everything. Like I don't know if I would have been continued with my art path had it not been for social media, because what was required of an artist before social media was like you have to build a portfolio, you have to submit it to people who are gatekeepers for certain things like
Yeah.
galleries, stuff like that, and then you have to cater your art to an audience that you may not really like relate to, you know
Mm.
what I mean, because they're the audience of that gatekeeper who represents that gallery of a sort,
Yeah.
right? I think what social media has done is it, like it does for everything, not just art, but like for music, for technology, it just really allowed people to create niches for themselves and then find people who mess with their work specifically instead of having to adapt. Like there's a lot of freedom in it, right? and
Yeah.
and it's apparent in every avenue that utilizes social media. So personally I love it. I think it's the way forward, and it comes with its ups and downs, but at least it's like it's allowing people to really truly express themselves, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. And yeah, I've seen how effective it is, even from my platform and just connecting with artists from when we started in 2004. And we didn't have a DM part when first joined up Instagram, if you
Right,
remember
right,
that.
right. I remember that.
It
You
was
have to
like,
go
no,
in the comments, right?
yeah, it's either in the comments, check your
Yeah,
emails or something like that, just to remind the person that, look, I'm watching,
yeah.
I want to get you on board on, the show to exhibit some art.
Hmm.
But yeah, so like balance, I've never like haven't touched on this subject with anyone, but I think because I heard your amazing daughter in the back screaming her head off, so I was just like, how does, and I've spoken to a few artists who have kids as well,
Yeah.
but for you, how do you balance being a father, working your job and doing your art? Like, what's your process and how's your balance through all that?
Well, it's not the easiest thing to do,
Hmm.
but it just depends on what I prioritize at the moment. You know what I mean? Like my relationship with my art is always up and down in the sense that sometimes I'll be focused and like pumping workout like crazy,
Yeah.
and then at other times I'm taking a step back and not really producing any art.
Yeah.
Like for example, I think late 2019 to early 2020 I wasn't really doing anything with art. Motivation had slipped.
Hmm.
I didn't want to do anything, but that also um, aligns exactly with when my daughter was born. She was born in September, so obviously my
Okay.
focus shifted,
Yeah.
right? So I was focusing on being a father, and I was focusing on taking care of my wife at home and making sure that, you know, things were all right.
Yeah.
Art was not really the priority at the time. Um, uh, right now, as it is, the pandemic has allowed a little bit more time to,
Yeah.
you know, focus on art whenever and the baby is sleeping or something like that, or whenever like I get a little bit more time.
Yeah.
And work is always there. So, you know, when I'm at work, I work, and then when I'm outside of work, I'm not working anymore. So like the balance is really just about the priorities, because on top of it all, like there's other things that like I do, like take the time to exercise and stuff like that. All these things take hours out of your day.
Yeah.
And so it's like, when do you want to do art? So when I'm motivated and inspired to do art, I get behind it. I make sure I carve out the time in the day to work on it. I spread it out over a few days. Like completing a piece doesn't have to be done in one session. Like when I was younger, I used to be in my room after school from the moment I got home to the moment I went to sleep, 8 hours straight. Like I'm talking like that from 4 p.m. to midnight sometimes, drawing something if I had a project that I wanted to get out. Obviously, I can't do that anymore. Like I could
Mm.
take that 8 hours, spread it out over 4 or 5 days, and then complete the same amount of work in that time. But
Yeah.
it's because I'm doing like 1 to 2 hours a day, you know.
Mm.
So like the balance is it's a bit difficult, but it's very manageable if it's important enough, right? So
Yeah.
art's important enough to keep in the picture. So I make sure that I always have the time to do a little something here and there, whether it's for fun or whether it's something serious, right? So
No, I definitely salute that, and shout out to the fathers in art. That's actually a good a good Instagram page for all the
yeah,
fathers, doing art, and you finding that balance, because you're passionate on all fronts, which I'm hearing. Do you know what I mean? And you put time into um what makes sense for you at each point. So amazing that you definitely do that.
yeah, for sure, man.
Yeah. Your current collection that I'm seeing online, this whole series of the yellow background,
Yeah,
the large heads, small bodies, big objects. What's that whole entire series about?
that's just for fun, man. Like so, like all right. So if you go back, if you go all the way down on my Instagram page, you'll see like
Yeah,
the transition and
yeah,
styles that I did, going from pencil sketches to marker sketches to hyperrealism to abstract ish to drawing things like I have a poster of the show Power on there, like because when
mm,
season one hit, I was like, yo, this show's amazing. Let me commemorate it in some way. All of that stuff was an exploration. So like I was saying at the beginning, like I explore different things. Like I wanted to see if I could do charcoal pencil artwork that's hyper realistic. It resulted in a Tupac picture that it's one of my favorite ones. It's like a super real project. And once I
yeah,
did that hyper realism, I left it alone. I'm like, all right, I did that. I don't want to do that anymore. It takes a long time. It's not the most fun thing in the world for me personally, even though I know there's a lot of people out there that really enjoy it. I explored with the markers. I got the markers out of the way, and now I'm like, okay, I don't need to do that anymore.
mm,
And I explored with like other avenues, like mix of coloring pencils and all that stuff. But it's done now. So now I'm into things that I find fun. So that whole cartoon character series, that's just me drawing things for the fun of it. Like I want to be able to draw things that are simple but that are relatable, that people can identify. I explored a little bit with making a little caricature of myself
yeah,
and making like comic strips with it. It was fun for a little bit. It's not exactly what I want to do for the long term, so I kind of left it alone.
mm,
But the yellow background came about randomly, really. One day I was trying to find a color that matches the cartoon character that I did.
yeah,
Yellow seemed to stick out. So I thought, okay. let's make it a theme. So now I try to incorporate it in everything that I do, because more than a signature, more than a style, the yellow is another form of identification. You know what
Mm.
I mean?
Yeah.
So like that's why, that's what that's all about. Like now I have the name the Royce Project attached to my art. I have certain art styles attached to my art, but also when you see that specific yellow, you can also attach that to my style. So I try to incorporate it in as many things as possible.
Yeah, that definitely is a great, great signature pieces that I'm seeing on there. Do you know what I mean? And it's now memorable and embedded in my head that I can't even wait to see what he's going to capture next, culture wise. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, you capture that Drake one well. Where do you see your art, developing and going in terms of goals and everything like that?
All right. It's a good question, because like I'm wondering the same myself right now. Like and I've been thinking about it a lot lately. Like I've so far I've been talking about things that interest me, things that I like and I like to draw.
Mm.
But I think it's time now to go into things that have a message of a sort, right?
Okay. Yes.
Because I don't. So, like a little backstory. Back in the early 2000s, when I was like, how old was I in that time? I was like 13, between the ages of like 13 and 17. I had pretty much drawn out the things that were probably going to determine my future in art, but I
Mm.
left it alone. Like I had sketched out stories for characters that were multicultural, but mainly black to represent me. That that had like these, you know, comic book style characters that had all these like amazing abilities, kind of like superheroes, but not
Mm.
the Marvel type. Just like my twist on it.
Yeah.
Um, I had this whole thing where all these characters wore specific brands of clothing that I invented, like because I was trying to get into merch, but I didn't know how to do that. But and I was just a teenager, so like for me, it was just fun. And looking back at it, I'm like, this is everything that's going on online right now is what I was doing when I was younger.
Yeah.
Um, so there's an avenue to bring that back and tell stories through that, and that's one thing that I want to do is just bring back what I used to work on back then, because it's important to display that. I think that it is, even though I made it like over 15 years ago, it's very relevant to what's going on right now, and there's a lot of messaging that I can pass on through that. So that's like one aspect of where I want to take my art. The other
Mm.
aspect is like I just want to be able to capture um, my views of the world, my views of the current state that we're in, my views on like what I think about, you know, where I like representation, in the sense that I believe that there's a lot of art out there that could benefit from a perspective that's more like Afrocentric,
Yeah.
you know,
100%.
and just that there's opportunity to tell those stories in a very unique way, because I don't always see the uniqueness of it all from the black perspective. Like there's a lot of characters out there that are renditions of existing characters,
I would
and it's
ask,
like,
I would say who and why, but we
what
don't
do you
want to
mean?
get in trouble.
Oh no, no, no!
Mm.
Like okay, so I'm not attacking anybody personally. I'm
Mm.
just saying that people are expressing themselves,
Yeah.
but they're using things that exist already and attaching what they like to it. So like
Do you
when you
think it's
see,
because they sorry, I'm this where my
no, no
curious
worries.
mind kicks in. Do you think it's because it's safer for them to do that sort of stuff rather
I think
than go and take it to the next level, if you know what I mean?
No, I don't think it's safe. I think that's truly what they like.
Yeah.
Like I grew up watching a lot of cartoons and anime, so it would make sense that like I'm in my 30s now. Like when I was in my 20s, I was younger. It would make, or when I was in my teens, it would make sense for me to do fan art of the
Yeah.
things that I like, but make them black. Like that. That's what I thought was like. I'm mixing what I like on TV with what my interests are. So it's a natural progression. I find it. So when I see these kids do that online, I actually like it because
Yeah.
it shows that they're being creative in the sense that they get to express themselves, but then they attach their interest to what they like to see on TV. So when you see like anime characters or old Nickelodeon characters, but the black version of them, like I understand where that's coming from.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that all those things were invented by somebody else. They weren't invented from the mind of like a young black individual that has their own perspective on the world and can tell their stories however they want to,
Yeah.
right? So there's an avenue for that because that perspective is so interesting, but it's just not told. Like when you look at popular culture right now, you look at like music and you look at movies and stuff like that, whenever there's a black inspired or Afro twist to it, it seems to just take off like crazy.
Yeah.
Like TikTok dances, like that renegade dance, like where did it come from? It came from the black girl in the States and it was the
Yeah.
biggest dance ever. Even though it was appropriated, where it originated from was important. When it comes to
Yeah.
music, hip hop is the biggest machine right now with music. And you know, that's a free expression of black culture to a certain extent. And with movies, you know, when Black Panther came out and stuff like that, people or Get Out, like people just didn't know that those things could be so big.
Yeah.
And so I
Huge.
think that there's a space for that kind of stuff in art. So
Yeah.
that's what I want to explore. Tell stories that are completely original and come from a perspective that's completely unique in that sense.
Mm.
You know, because those stories exist, but they're just not told or they're attached to things that weren't originated from like that young or that Afro or black mindset, you know? So like I want to see how that can go. So
Yeah, no, that's you're really on point with that. You know, it leads to my next question and next thing I want to ask. Because representation is a huge thing for us as you know
yeah.
black individuals. You know, famous ones we know, obviously, you know, Basquiat, who's you know who was, I believe he was Haitian and he was Latin as well.
Yeah.
He's a black
Puerto
guy.
Rican, I think. Puerto
Yeah.
Rican and Haitian, I
So it's just
believe.
like he's we see him and we see us, you know what I mean? And it's like we would love to see more of us. And if there is, but it's like we're not, I feel as though we're not really seeing it unless we really dig, do you know what I mean? So
Hmm.
like from your side, you know, how important is, you know, representation in our community to, you know, show people, look, there are people like us here in this art scene.
I think it's to me personally, it's the most important thing. And um the simplest example of that is like I have a 7-month-old daughter right now. If she does not see young black girls growing up, she's not gonna fully understand her value as an
Yeah.
individual. So like that's the fundamental of it all. The impression that representation leaves on young minds is like hypercritical.
Mm.
And the thing is, when I was growing up, that representation was lacking a lot. So I'm a late 80s baby,
Yeah.
growing up in the 90s, um, in Canada and stuff like that. Like, what was lacking is a lot of access to American shows. A lot of stuff was like Canadian first or popular, and popular isn't always black. So like I'm watching television, I'm seeing music, pop music, I'm seeing all those kind of things, but I'm not seeing enough of the representation of like
Mm.
black people in it. Like I'm not trying to specify which shows and stuff like that, but like it was just lacking, you know?
Mm.
Like it wasn't until shows like The Fresh Prince or
Ooh,
the
classic.
Cosby, Family
Mhm.
Matters, you know, like those TV
Yeah.
sitcoms came out that I started seeing black people on TV, but then that's not the full picture, you know, like that when the problem is when there's not enough representation,
Yeah.
whatever you see seems to be the interpretation of, or seems to be the representation of that population in that moment.
Yeah.
So like people who see the Fresh Prince or those kind of shows, or they see hip hop, or the only time they see black people is on like in a negative light per se on television, they really start to believe that that's how we act in real life,
Exactly. Yeah.
you know? So like, um, so the objective is to normalize um, black people and their experiences through art,
Yeah.
right? So I'm trying to do my part in putting out as much black art as possible so that people who don't know much about it, when they see it, they say, "Oh, okay, this is the norm. I guess it's not what I had believed it would have been, or it's not the what am I trying to say? It's not the interpretation that I had of it, because now the representation is more normalized. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and I could get into a zillion examples of, you know, being in a situation where I've been asked the perspective of of like what my experience is like from for a certain situation because I'm black. Like that happens to almost every black person, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, it's unfair because the answer is I experience things the same way you do, but like not you, but the person who'd be asking the question. Like I
Yeah.
experience things the same way they do, but they don't understand that because they aren't shown that enough, right?
Yeah.
Um, and like I don't know, like representation matters so much because it wasn't until Instagram that I really saw the extent of how black characters could be represented in cartoons and animation, because the artists that always put out the materials, that always put out the work that I saw
Mm.
weren't necessarily black. Like some of like um I used to watch a lot of Dragon Ball Z, you know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Same, man.
So
Yeah.
like the character designs in Dragon Ball Z are amazing, I find, but like if I just draw Goku and give him black skin, like that is not a black character because
Nah.
it doesn't capture
But
the
technically,
the
I sorry to tell
anatomy
you.
of a black person, you know?
Yeah. Sorry to talk on Dragon Ball Z, and
Yeah.
there's me and my brother. We had a weird. It wasn't a theory, but just a thought. He said Dragon Ball Z is based on black people. He said, and I said, how? He goes, remember Frieza came to the planet Vegeta,
Uh-huh.
and he was like, we need to wipe out these Saiyans. These Saiyans are getting too powerful. If they rise, they're going to turn Super Saiyan and take over. He
Uh-huh.
said that could represent white supremacy, and the blacks were the Saiyans, and only few got out. And you notice that the powerful athletes are now taking over sports and everything like that. But we had a weird theory to it, so I just wanted to share that. But we literally broke that
like
down and
I,
just went into it like this could be black culture. Do you know what I mean?
I kind of see where that could come from,
Yeah.
but like the movie Avatar is kind of like the same thing. Remember with the blue
Yeah.
people,
Mm.
but like that, you know, like I wouldn't say it's black history,
Yeah, it would never be
like
solely that. It's just our
yeah,
crazy
no,
theory to it. Yeah.
yeah. I see where you're where that theory comes from, but I
Mm.
like that's more of a fun theory than
Yeah,
anything.
yeah. Then a
Yeah,
true deep
yeah,
theory.
yeah. Because like then it's like, oh, okay, but what are you saying that like oh, black people have tails? Like, what are we,
Yeah,
monkeys? Like,
exactly.
you know?
Then because that's where I was taking it with him. I
Yeah,
was like,
yeah,
so what we're gonna fit into the stereotypes? We when we
yeah,
get angry, we turn into
yeah,
the
yeah.
true ape, and then it was
Yeah,
just
and
all
then
that.
it's like yo, Goku's kind of, he's strong and all, but he's kind of a dummy. Like, are you saying we're
Yeah. Is that
dumb
then
and
what you
like we
saying?
can't do more than fight? Like, so
Because that was
I,
that's it was so many flaws to it. Because I was even saying
yeah,
it's like look how they just predicated on just fighting all the time, especially Vegeta.
yeah,
He wants to
yeah,
fight. Like there was
yeah,
no the only time the sayings got one saying that got relaxed was Gohan,
yeah,
where he was just like he literally just forgot about he just got integrated into Earth culture. So he literally
Yeah,
just forgot all of that. But the true full-blooded Saiyans were just like on fighting. But it's like no, black people, all
yeah.
black people don't want to fight. So
Yeah,
it's okay.
exactly. It's like, but no, that's a funny story still.
Yeah,
But like I was saying, when it comes to like capturing um the look of uh a race, for example, like, and I'm using black because that's what I know and that's what I see.
yeah,
Like taking Goku and giving him black skin to me does not look like a black character. Like it
no,
wasn't until I seen shows like Black Dynamite, the cartoon,
ooh,
and
yeah,
the Boondocks that I was like, okay, now these
yeah,
guys are capturing like facially and body wise, they're capturing like the anatomy of black people like I'm used like that I actually see in real life, you know. So
yeah,
let me study that a little bit, you know, and like that representation matters a bit. So now that I understand that, like whenever I draw things, like I can capture certain details that aren't captured often because they're not too popular. Like whenever like cartoon characters that are black showed up previously, yeah, they were captured in a certain sense, but sometimes some features were too exaggerated or some skin tones weren't really like representative of the range of skin colors that black characters actually have and stuff
yeah,
like that. So like that's why I think it's important to be able to create from that perspective of like you gotta be able to capture these characters in their true essence, you know, and not
mm,
necessarily copy existing techniques. Because if you watch all of the way Marvel characters are drawn or all of the way that other characters are drawn, like yeah, they look cool and all, but I think that they could be improved on. Like if you take a character like Storm, right?
yeah.
I don't think it was until recently that Storm was drawn like
In
it,
European way, yeah,
yeah, like she was drawn like a, a black woman, but from like, but not the black eye. It was kind of like, okay, take a Kitty Prime and make her black. You know what I
yeah,
mean? You know
yeah,
what I mean? So it's like, and so she kind of looked like a black Barbie, and I'm like, okay, this isn't exactly how I pictured it,
yeah,
you know. But these days, if you have a black artist doing a fan art of Storm, she's gonna look like super, like super black, and I like that,
yeah,
right? So I think there's just room, man. There's room for like a wide range of creation to happen, and it'll make representation uh like it'll make it pop off. Like the kids that are looking at art now and they need inspiration, and I'm speaking of like the black kids obviously, but like if they come to my page, they'll see that I draw characters that are black that I think in a way that I think they should be represented. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
mm,
And that is starting to pop off, and like kids have access to more of those kind of things, and it's becoming more popular. Like there was that short animation film like Hair Love that got a lot of recognition last year. I don't know if you heard of it.
the hair one.
Hair Love. It's a little story. It's like a 7-minute clip of a dad trying to comb, or he's trying to do his daughter's hair, like give her a
Yes,
hairdo.
yes, yes, yes. I know you're talking about that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that one. Like those things like that matter a lot
yeah.
in
Because we
terms
don't
of,
see that because we assume that the
yeah,
woman does the hair and stuff like that. But that's
exactly,
definitely worth it.
exactly.
We can do cornrows too. So don't worry.
Yeah, exactly. But like that matter, like that's representation in my opinion. Like if
Yeah,
like the fact that those things exist in today's light means that there's so much room for it to grow. And I think the artist name is Matthew Cherry,
yeah,
who did that cartoon. But like those things matter, and I want to be a part of that, you know. And that's where I see myself going forward. Like that's the space I want to create from, and that's the space I want to create in going forward with my art career. And whatever comes of it comes of it. If I can pull it off, I can pull it off.
and they
I'll
won
always
an
have,
Oscar as well.
sorry,
Sorry, they won an
no,
Oscar.
sorry,
They won an
go ahead.
Oscar as well for animated series. They won an Oscar for it.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's like amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Exactly. So like imagine that, like, like you can turn on the TV and you have your options for whatever kind of cartoons you want to watch. If you're a kid, you want to watch Spider-Man, you can, you want to watch Hair Love, you can. If you are of another ethnicity, there's representation of that for you to watch. It doesn't always have to be majority a certain way, and then you're not. It doesn't like. All I know is that when I was growing up, just watching all of that, it like I didn't realize how much it affected me until I got out of that space as a young adult. You know what I mean? Like my world was really surrounded by artwork that wasn't a direct representation of who I am,
Yeah.
but I still enjoyed it. So you'll find, like in my old drawing books, you'll find Dragon Ball Z, you'll find Spider Man, you'll find all those things. I was drawing all sorts of characters, but I wasn't exactly drawing from a perspective that represented me because I didn't know what that looked like. So representation now, it's gonna matter a whole lot, right? So
Yeah,
yeah,
no, definitely. Representation is key, because that's how you the next generation inspired and not have them, feeling confused, growing up. It's like at key points, someone who looked like me did this, someone who looked like me did that. Do you know what I mean? We're almost giving them like a great guide into, being the best versions of themselves. So it's something that, definitely I take serious as well. And also
yeah,
you
for
mentioned,
sure.
storytelling, telling stories, seeing the hair love short, that you mentioned as well, seeing a black dad, do his daughter's hair, which we don't see, and that sort of stories inspires and gives a window into, fathers who really do take care of their daughters. How important do you think, storytelling is for yourself and also in your art?
Storytelling might be more important than the art, to be honest, because but the thing is, I like the storytelling skills, so I'll just stick to the
Yeah,
art. But
yeah,
I think the stories, they are what really shape people's minds and shape people's insights into certain worlds. Um, in the future, I hope that stories are told from a perspective that feels genuine
yeah,
and are reflective of people's lives as they truly are, because I find that right now what happens is so I don't know, I'll speak to Black culture a little bit. Like I find that Black storytelling is very innovative
yeah,
and it's very creative, but I find that a lot of the time it relies on explaining the Black experience to people who aren't Black.
yeah,
um, and it results in things like movies where you have to explain. I don't know. The last thing I can think about is like Queen and Slim. It's like
yeah,
you always have. It's always from a perspective of like maybe like discrimination and oppression,
yeah,
which is reflective of people's realities. But I just don't think that there's enough of storytelling that comes from just a lived experience.
yeah,
And there should be room for that. Like Hair Love is a story from a lived experience, and it touched people's hearts because it was just genuine. You know what I mean?
hmm,
And that's just as important as telling stories of discrimination and all those kind of things. But there just needs to be more of the the genuine storytelling to balance out the fact that there's the other side, right?
yeah,
So and once you've done that and it's come from lived experience, then you can get in like there's also an avenue to tell stories of fantasy. There's stories of science fiction, but from a perspective that's never been told, because it might be like a Black perspective. Who knows what kind of innovative things can come out of African countries if they're given the
yes, 100%.
like if they're given the opportunity to create freely, right? There's like a million stories exist in those worlds, and they just need an opportunity to tell them.
Mm.
and who knows what that could result in, because like I said, I watch a lot of anime and I read like mangas a lot, and the thing that I find the most interesting is the storytelling from the perspective of like Japan and Asian world is completely free. Like
Yeah.
people will tell stories that truly like every time I watch a show, I'm always like, how the hell do these people come up with this stuff? Like
Exactly. Hey.
they have complete creative freedom, and a
Mm.
lot of it is based on lived experience and the history of the population, traditions, and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
And like I used to watch and read the manga Bleach, and it's
Mm.
like based on like the fantasy of soul reapers and death,
Yeah.
and the tradition of fighting with weapons like swords and stuff
Yeah.
like that, and it's just a free world, and like that's admirable in a sense, because like these are people who are just telling the stories however they want to tell them. And I just hope that one day, when it comes to stories being told from Black people, it gets to that. Like you'll see things that you never thought of because it comes from a perspective that has never been given a chance to tell its story,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
So like we'll see how that turns out. I think we're just at the cusp of that,
Yeah. Yeah.
of like of that expression and stuff like that. And in the coming years, there'll be movies, cartoons, films, art that'll come out from like a perspective that's never been told before, and it'll contribute to the normalization and the representation of a culture that um, has to continuously fight to create its space, right? So
Yeah.
like yeah, so the storytelling will be super important. I hope that one day I can be a contributor to that, and if not, I hope that I can um encourage the next mind that will, somehow, some way, right? So yeah, so
Definitely, 100%, believe that you're gonna be an amazing storyteller. I mean, you're speaking from
thank you, man.
an amazing, passionate space, and when someone's speaking with like full blown clarity, it's like, yeah, this person's really gonna do this. And you know what I mean? Exactly, knows what he wants in terms of representation, and he understands why he wants to talk about stories more. And when a person finds their why, which you have, it's just great things that come ahead.
Yeah, man. I hope it all comes together,
Mm.
and I give myself till the age of 40 to do it. So I got a
Because
couple years.
we got time.
Yeah,
you know
I got time, man.
yeah, so um artists who are coming in the game now, um what advice would you relay to them? What would you say to them? What to pay attention to, what to take seriously, how to improve their craft. What would be your best advice for them?
Um, I think that um, one of the drawbacks of social media is that everything has to happen quickly.
Mm.
So, but when it comes to art, you have to be able to, if not master your craft through practice, you have to be able to deliver something that's consistent.
Mm.
So like I know a lot of people say practice, 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 but like not everybody on the come up wants to take the time to practice. So you just have to be able to be consistent, consistent, consistent. So like I think that's one advice that I have. Like whatever you're doing in your art, try to learn it and to improve on it as much as possible. But if you can't do that, at least be consistent in the way you put things out. Don't always look like you're trying to chase the moment or chase the trend, because um, as soon as you capture a moment, um, whatever you capture dies with that moment whenever that moment passes, right? So like try
Powerful.
to try to be try to be as consistent in what you do as possible, and
Mm.
try to always improve on your craft, because failure is part of the process when in this art thing. If you don't like failing, you're not really gonna improve, because The difference between the artist that makes it and the artist that doesn't is the one that made it tried again and the other one didn't, right? So like
Yeah.
you got to keep going with that. So that's one advice. Um, the other advice is just try to I don't know like stay up to date with what's current. Explore.
Yeah.
You know, like don't be the person that says things like, oh, I don't like this new trend, or
Yeah.
I don't like this new technology, I don't like the fact that things are done online, I don't like, yeah, like I like galleries or anything like that. Like there's avenues that are being created that need to be utilized. The youth seem to understand that and capitalize on it a lot, so keep doing that. TikTok right now seems to be the move.
Yeah.
I will admit that I'm too old to understand TikTok, so I'm not going that way.
Yeah.
But
I'm sure you'll find something
I don't
that
know, man. Like,
yeah. Because every person that I speak to about TikTok,
yeah,
like, it's so young. It's like, kids, do I have to dance? Do I have to do this? And I'm
yeah,
like, no, there is a way to do it. We just haven't figured it out yet. So I
yeah.
mean,
Well, when that person who's not gonna be me figures it out, then I'll jump on the wave. Like it's like, all
yeah,
right, okay, somebody figured it out for artists. Now I'm gonna
yeah,
jump on that wave. Like, but I'm not gonna be the one to discover it. You know what I mean? Like, because like Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr
yeah.
used to be big before it got like
Oh, shoot.
locked down. Like those are the things that are gonna open up your world as an artist. Like you have
Yeah.
to just seek them out, understand them, and
It's Tumblr. You just reminded me, bro. Like,
Tumblr was
it was
the
such a window into
yeah, man.
so many. Like, I didn't even know who took certain images. I was just in love with repost, repost. It was amazing.
Exactly.
Oh man.
Tumblr was like the golden like grail
Yeah.
for like a vast amount of art, you know?
Yeah.
And whenever some like like TikTok is Vine recreated, so whoever recreates Tumblr, like
Ooh.
the artists are gonna go crazy for that one, right?
Yeah.
And you just gotta be able to understand that once that happens, you have to jump on it, right?
Mm.
So like, yeah, man, and just like I guess lastly, like the last I don't really have a lot of advice, but like
Yeah.
when it comes to art, like reach out sometimes, you know, if you wanna
Yeah.
understand how things go, like I'm always like open to talk to artists, but I'm not always I don't always put it out there. Like I don't make myself super available, but people have reached out to me in the past, and I'm not afraid to have those discussions and share whatever knowledge I have with people. So
Yeah.
like, and I know that I wouldn't have gotten to where I am today if there wasn't some form of communication with a lot of people online. Like I would have never made it out to London if I never spoke to guys like J King and Stasi and Mr. Westrup. Like that would
Yeah.
have never happened, right? So like there's opportunities if you go seek them. You know,
Mhm.
be patient with people. Always be respectful and polite. Like if a no doesn't mean the end of the world, you know.
Mhm.
So there's always somebody else that could help you out. So just just explore. Try to reach out to people if you need to improve your craft. There's people out there who are willing to help.
Yeah, man, definitely. Royce, you're a legend, man. I mean,
Thank
this.
you.
I know this is like, we talk on the DMs, but and I'm having like a conversation with you on it. I'm like, this guy's amazing, man. It's like, it's just like, what's great is I always like to know the people behind the art and
Yeah,
just speak to them on a human level,
yeah,
and learning throughout these podcasts that I've done. I've just seen great humans, amazing humans who just want to do
yeah.
good things with their art, and it's always every time I come to like the end, I'm like, wow, like I know this is supposed to be an hour, but I probably want to ask you more
No,
stuff. Do you know what I mean? Because it's just me just being curious. You know what I mean? And feeling the energy is like you got a great spirit, man. So I definitely
thank you,
think you're
man.
just gonna, do phenomenal things from this point.
Thank you, man. And shout out to you, man. I mean, the podcast, like, I caught on when Stasi went on your show, and I've been
Yeah,
listening to, I've been trying to catch up to all the episodes
I put
since.
out a lot. Yeah,
Yeah, I know you're going crazy, but
yeah,
but I think it's very needed in that
yeah,
art space, you
yeah,
know, giving a voice to the artist. And I appreciate this opportunity because myself, like I don't really put my voice or my thoughts out there.
mm,
So, this gives people a little bit of insight of what goes on in my life behind the art. So I appreciate that too,
No
man.
worries. I appreciate, even giving your voice to this platform. Do you know what I mean? You're like the second artist who, mentioned that. It's like, I'd never speak. And now you're like, hey, do you want to do the podcast? You're like, okay, cool. And now,
Yeah.
later, because sometimes like some people are, reluctant to come on the podcast because they don't know what to say or don't feel
Yeah.
comfortable.
Yeah.
But, I definitely applaud the one to, take the courage just to do it and just be like, you know what, I'm just going to speak. And whether
Yeah.
naturally comes, you know what I mean? But it's always great to know that it's from such a pure, honest space, you know what I mean? And you give me your whys and your stories, and people really buy into that.
Yeah, definitely, man.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So
Yeah.
where can they find you? Socials.
Socials. So find me at the Royce Project. Uh, one word on everything. So that's Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Gmail, the Royce Project at gmail.com, and the royceproject.com, my website. I put up merch, prints, tutorials, a couple of things. I update it every once in a while. So I have the website, and all the socials is the Royce Project.
Mhm.
And whatever social media comes out next, it'll be the Royce Project every time. So gonna
Listen,
keep it
make sure you
consistent.
lock onto it. I'm like you. As soon as something new comes out, I'm just gonna get the name quickly
Yeah,
because
yeah, yeah.
someone's got Art Meets Culture Twitter, and they haven't used it since 2017. So it's
Nah.
annoying. And then and when I first started, because when it was called Art Meets Music, someone's
Hmm.
had that and they had the domain name. I'm like, Just,
Yeah.
just free up the name, please. Let me get on
Yeah,
brand a little
man.
bit. But
Yeah.
it's so cool. We stay creative. But yeah, thank
Yeah.
you so much for getting on board the podcast, man. I really
No doubt,
appreciate it.
man.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate it, man.
All right, bro. All right, you
All right,
take care.
man. Take care, bro. All
All right, bless.
right, peace.